Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Geekcast podcast. My name is Greg St. Clair.
Dan Whitehead.
Patrick Howard.
And welcome to part 2 of episode 20. We apologize for the maybe background music or talking you hear behind us. We unfortunately have to share this radio station with some other DJs, and we didn't know people would be in here at the time. So think of it as an ambiance, I guess. But in part 2, we are talking all things DC. Whether it be all the CW stuff that has happened, as well as the premiere of Legends of Tomorrow, DC Week on CW, where Kevin Smith and Jeff Johns talked about different trailers for Superman vs. Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, and the Green Lantern Corps movie, as well as the Suicide Squad trailer that dropped at the end of it. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's
end
what
of
happened.
it. Yep.
Okay.
That's what happened. Cool. So, Daniel,
Yes.
care to kick it off with Flash?
Okay, so the mid-season premiere happened 2 weeks ago now, and it was about... help me out here, guys.
I don't even know.
I know
Wow.
last week's was about Reverse Flash,
We are so fucking prepared.
and
it was about...
who's the villain? I can't remember.
Turtle.
Turtle.
There we go.
The
lame
turtle.
one.
Oh, it was about the turtle.
Okay, so the turtle comes around, and his abilities as a turtle would have is slow. He can it's kind of basically the exact opposite of the Flash. So how
Freezes
Flash runs
time.
fast, he kind of sends out these bursts where people it's not that they slow down. He stops time, right? And then he can move and then start time up again, whatever. And he's like a thief and whatever. And I guess I kind of forgot because I didn't really enjoy him as a villain. I didn't think he was that exciting.
I mean, when you say his name, Turtle, if you try to say it dramatically,
Yeah.
Turtle. No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, he took his glasses off.
Well, it was the whole significance of the fact that if they harnessed his power, they could stop Zoom.
Right.
So that was the purpose of the turtle, the whole episode. And this is a very Barry and
Patty.
I already forgot her name.
Wow, that was
It's already out of your
dropped
mind.
her quick.
It's already out of my system, man. Move on to the next chick.
We'll get to that why that is.
I love you, Chantel. But they had a very heavy relationship episode where Patty's kind of getting upset that Barry isn't telling her everything, which is for him the Flash, but she thinks it could be anything. So there's a big relationship with that, and while they're trying to capture the turtle in this art gallery, he almost kills Patty. Barry saves her, and then Turtle's like, oh, the Flash must love her. I must have her.
But another part of that relationship thing was because Barry kind of dipped out to go put his Flash costume on and all that stuff, and then Flash saves her, she's kind of like, what the fuck? You didn't save me as the Flash, or the Flash had to save me kind of thing. But it's it was him,
Yeah.
She just obviously didn't know that. So that causes a little bit of problems in there. But yeah, definitely I think the episode was, like you said, just to establish that there's a slow ability out there and that they need to harness that and use it to stop Zoom.
A really creepy part was when he had Patty held hostage. And she asked what he was going to do with her, and was like, I'm going to do collection or whatever. And I saw it coming the entire time. I was like, what's behind the tarp? What's behind the tarp? It's his fucking wife that's dead that's behind this tarp in a glass case. And then he puts a label on an empty case to the left of that saying, Patty Spivot. Really creepy.
Yeah.
Really, really creepy.
Yeah, he was kind of like Hannibal Lecter, right? He had that fancy library with all his possessions and
It wasn't even a library. It was a storage unit for
for a library.
I wouldn't call it a library. There's no books.
No, but it was it used to be a library.
I thought it was just a warehouse.
Or a
Oh,
warehouse.
that was a warehouse.
Warehouse library? I don't know. I'm going to say library. I'm going to stick with that.
You'd be right.
Either way, yeah, he had all his trophies and things that he's been stealing and whatnot. And then the last big thing of that episode was Harrison Wells, because he's kind of new Harrison Wells is kind of working
Harry.
with Harry, thank you. Working with Zoom in a way. He went into the turtles cell that they keep inside the particle accelerator and shot that a gun into his nose to pull out his blood DNA and also kill him at the same time. But then when they found him, it just came up as a brain aneurysm or whatever.
They just thought he died in the next episode.
Right.
And then at the end of this episode, the little teaser at the very end is that Eobard Thawne comes back from the future.
Right, which I have some
And we
something to say
can go
about
to that right now. We can just go into the both episodes to
All right.
continue the story. So in episode 2 of Flash is the second episode after the mid-season premiere.
last week's episode.
Yeah, this past Tuesday. Is more of the Reverse Flash, and they're explaining why he's still alive, and they're saying that you can't stop the future from happening no matter what you do. So they're taking that mentality of time travel, where no matter what happens, it's all going to like flow in the same river, which I find complete bullshit because they killed Eddie. The sperm that will create Eobard in the future no longer exists.
That was like the first time I've ever heard where like, okay, he's in the future, but he's kept safe through some.
It was like he was kept safe through like the time warp or something.
Like that was like the first time I've ever heard that in a kind of a time travel plot.
It's got to be in the comic.
It didn't make any.
It's got to be in the comics somewhere.
I guess.
We're not like avid
well,
readers, but-
Eddie Thawne was like made up, I think, for the show.
Well, yeah, for Eobard's purpose.
Right, because they wanted you to think that Eddie was really Eobard and like the whole time, and like that's
Right.
what I thought
Yeah.
for most of it. But I didn't think, and like they explained it kind of quick and with like a lot of big words, so that you're kind of confused and you don't really question
And so
it.
you're just like, yeah, sure.
Even when
You're
they
like-
actually
you kinda-
literally
yeah,
like draw it out for you, it still doesn't really.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And they were trying to say like either way, Barry's mom had to die, and then the way they played off at the end was either way, Eobard is still going to come back in time, still going to find Harrison Wells and like turn into Harrison Wells, still get a like. So that's how Barry still has his powers, because for this whole season up until now, we were wondering like, well, how does he still have his powers?
Yeah.
Whatever, and that's how. So basically, Eobard goes back in time twice. Is what it has happened, right? So he goes back, figures out, oh, this is where the Flash is, then goes back again with his mission of getting Harrison Wells and all
Right.
that stuff. So
It's just really interesting. And like, again, my whole thing is like they killed the sperm. The sperm.
he's like his grandfather, but yeah, it would be
Yeah.
like Eddie's son has
They're
Eobard.
Thawns.
Right, the Thawne line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thawne. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, no, totally. And so I think it's total bullshit. They just needed something to do. I think it was a little bit of a filler episode, but also like important in many aspects
It was
too.
it was really just important for us to finally have closure of why he's still around and how Barry has his powers. Even though it was kind of a bullshit reason, we still finally got some kind of closure.
Yeah.
Right, like you have to kind of be like, all right, I accept that, and just kind of move on from it. Zoom's been kind of out of the loop a little bit. Like obviously his name is still dropped and everything, but we haven't really seen him the last two episodes.
Yeah. Now that we got like Jay back, now we're kind of losing Zoom.
But
So-
with
Yeah.
the Jay thing, which is really, really interesting, is that Caitlin Snow keeps trying to find Jay's doppelganger
Because
in Earth
Jay's
1
sick.
because Jay's sick and needs to transfer DNA. And Jay has found him, except it's Hunter Zolomon, who in the comics is Dr. Zoom.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah, I think that's just a name tease. I don't think he's.
You don't think
the
it's
reverse-
anything?
I
I
don't
think
he's
it's just
Zoom.
an Easter egg, but they're just taking they're Zoom in a different direction. But might as well pay tribute to the original one.
I just don't think the body type matches. Like I can't.
I'm not saying it is, but like of all names to give this guy, you give
Right.
him the name of Dr. Zoom. Like, what is the point of that?
Yeah, I think it was just because it's like Jay Garrick and Hunter Zolomon, whatever. That's like okay, another speedster.
Yeah.
And with Jay is another speedster, whatever. And then, my big guess is that it's Earth 2 Henry Allen. That's my. I'm
Yeah.
really sticking with that.
I think
and
so, too,
that's
'cause
who it is. So I think the Hunter Zolomon thing, they'll probably confront him and be like, "We need your DNA," because Jay has to have his speed back at some point.
Yeah, he's going to.
Because otherwise, that was the biggest waste of Jay Garrick, that they could have.
That's
had.
one of the biggest ways of any superhero character of both Flash and Arrow.
Right, and we know what they did with Wildcat.
Yeah, we
And
know.
this would be even bigger than Wildcat. Because you have him suit up once, even though he doesn't have his powers. You show him in like flashbacks having his powers with the suit, and then go.
You have the
"Eh."
teaser of the cover of the comic
I know.
Right
around the brick wall, man. Like, come on.
to save Patty and everything. Yeah,
You bring him in here. How are you not going to give him his speed? They're going to give him his speed back. It's no question about it.
Unless he's going to stay around for the third season
He
and
very-
then
he very
has
well-
his powers.
He's going to get his own show.
You think so?
It's going to be the golden age of DC heroes.
That'd be cool.
That'd be
That would be
pretty
cool, yeah.
freaking sweet. You get
then you can have Wildcat.
You have
come back.
Wildcat. You have the magic Green Lantern, not the actual Green Lantern, but the one you just met. CW, if you're listening to this, please make this happen.
Well, that could be Earth 3.
That could be season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow.
Ooh.
Because they're saying right now with how this is going, it's super expensive and can't keep up with this.
Mm-hmm.
But if they keep mixing it up every season with different heroes from the DC universe, it could be very interesting. It could be very interesting. Why not? If they could fight. Geez, I couldn't even tell you. Actually, I can't name like a big Brainiac. They can fight. Brainiac's probably going to be in the cinematic universe.
Cinematic. Let's see. Who's another one that they could fight? They would. Well, if they go with the Golden Age, they'll probably go with the Golden Age villain.
Right.
Starro is. He's not Golden Age, is he?
I don't even know who Starro is.
He's a Justice League villain, but that's nothing.
I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, they could find somebody. There's plenty of villains and stuff like that. You don't always have to be like, oh, he's immortal.
Right.
You know, it doesn't always have to be like that. So
it could be like just like this villain has come up in the future and nobody in this time can stop him. So let's go back in time to find people who can stop him and bring him to the future.
Or even like just have the whole show take place in like the 40s, 50s, or whatever. You know, like a period drama kind of thing, or action series.
No, it's an idea.
You're welcome, CW.
You're welcome, Warner Brothers.
One day they'll hire us.
One day. But another thing that happens in this episode of Flash is Cisco developing his powers. He finally gets his goggles as Vibe, which is very, very exciting. But with this and Eobard Thawne coming back, Eobard Thawne will at one point in the future come back and kill, or in the past will come back and kill Cisco. So Cisco's kind of like depleting from existence in a way, like a Marty McFly type thing, except way more intense.
Yeah.
Like bloody nose. It's really gross. Barry has to make the unfortunate decision to send back Eobard Thawne to the future so that he eventually can come back and kill his mom and give Barry his powers.
Right.
So he has to make that really, really tough decision. And then Cisco's okay. Everything's back to normal. But that was kind of the main conflict in the movie as far as like a serious like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah. And I feel like that's pretty much it for Flash.
Flash?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to Arrow. The mid-season premiere of Arrow obviously picks up with what happened to Felicity. Is she alive? Is she not alive?
Yes.
She's in the hospital pretty much the whole episode. And in the meantime, Team Arrow is hunting down Damien Dark's like gang with like a vengeance kind of thing, like trying to find Dark.
Oliver's on this huge vendetta.
Right.
Giant vendetta.
Of, where is he?
Himself
and
Doesn't really visit Felicity a whole lot. Visit Felicity in the whole lot in the episode, except for like the very, very end, just because he's trying so hard to get Dark, but also again just feels so responsible of what happens.
And then ultimately they find out that she's paralyzed from the waist down. At least for now, they're thinking it's probably going to be permanent, but of course, Team Arrow's not taking that as an answer.
Of course.
And so she kind of goes into this funk of, am I really useful anymore?
That's the second one.
Is it? Yeah, but she gets into it a little bit, right? Oh, but no, you know what she says? She says to Oliver kind of like, oh, well, we haven't taken our vows yet. So basically, like, if you wanted to move on to somebody that can walk and all that kind of stuff, then, like, I would totally understand.
And then Oliver puts the ring on her finger, and it's a nice, aww.
Yeah, like, he's like, no, I'm not, I'm not going anywhere kind of thing, which is good because.
But the main arc, as far as, like, the crime-fighting stuff goes, is Anarchy.
That's right.
Who comes back for this episode. He ends up finding Damien Dark faster than Team Arrow can, so Oliver's like really set on like using him to find Anarchy. No,
to use Anarchy to find Dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is Anarchy leads them to Dark's house.
Right.
With his wife and his daughter.
Yep.
And all that stuff happens. And Anarchy's set on killing the mother and the daughter, but Team Arrow comes in and saves them, and Dark recognizes that.
Right. And
as viewers, I don't know if you guys felt this, but when they first showed the family, my idea was they had no idea who Damien Dark was. They just thought
that was my
they just thought they were like the dad, and he just worked late and all this other stuff. And then what happens at the end of this episode is that Dark, his wife and daughter, or in some like limo, and they're driving to like a safer location, and the wife's like, you better kill whatever. You better stop them. You better, and you're just like, oh my god, they're in it together.
It
What?
remind me of like Kingpin and Vanessa and the Daredevil first season, like that,
Yeah.
where they're just like this evil like power couple. So I'm really looking forward. Now I'm really interested in
Good
Damien
reference.
Dark.
Good reference.
Oh, and while I was sitting here thinking, with Legends, and we'll get to it, it ties into this, how I said, oh, it looks like they use the same house or whatever, like for Damien Dark's house and then also for Vandal Savage's house. I think that's on purpose.
Like Vandal used to live there, but now
And then Damien Dark gets it somehow. Because Damien Dark's in the second episode of Legends, and we'll get there.
I haven't seen Legends yet, and
Not the second episode.
not the second
right?
episode, but Dan and Patrick have already told me what happens, but we'll get into that a little bit. Episode 2
of Arrow.
of
Yep.
Arrow is more when Felicity starts to struggle with her inner demons, and by inner demons, it's her like punk self from 6 years ago with like the black hair and the black
Which-
lipstick, and
Oliver totally saw her dressed up like that. I swear that she pretended to dress like that for that episode where like we see her, and like in the present time, I think she dressed up as like a disguise.
I don't remember. Was it in the episode where her boyfriend comes back?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that.
What season was that? Was that like
Season 3.
It was early 3. Yeah.
I don't remember that. It very well could have happened. I don't remember. But yeah, at the end, like Felicity shows Oliver a picture of her old self, and Oliver's like, "Wow, you were really serious when you said you made some poor styling choices."
Yeah. And they burned the picture, and there's all that stuff.
So Felicity will like imagine her punk past self, and will like yell at her, but Oliver's thinking she's talking to him, so he'll like leave. So it's a very
was a
weird
funny
psychological thing. And this episode brings me back to the theory that Andy Diggle is the one in the grave at the end of the season. I really
Not
think
John?
this. Not what?
not John?
Not John. It can't be John. If it's John, I will cry several man tears.
I just
Not a
can't
single
see-
man tear.
I don't know.
Several man tears.
Unless you know the episodes kind of prove me wrong, but I just can't see Ollie really getting that vengeful for Andy.
Well,
For John, I can understand totally, but for Andy, he's just
Well, Oliver would feel responsible. It was John because they're
Yeah.
best
Right,
friends.
because you have to remember, like he says, I don't feel responsible, but I need to get Damien Dark. So you have to kind of think about, okay, well, who would he be in, like, want to put himself out there still for
Right.
Dark, but also not feel attached to? Totally.
And even in the first episode back from the mid-season to this episode, Andy starts to kind of open up a little bit to John, who's kind of treating him more like a brother than a prisoner.
Right.
And with this second episode, there's a secret, bad army military force, task force, kind of in a way, that's trying to eventually
Shadow Spire.
Shadow Spire.
Thank you. Will take over. They're trying to capture Argus and get some information. And Andy used to be a part of this organization back when he was in the military with John, which John didn't know about.
Right.
So they're going through all this stuff, and Andy ends up helping Team Arrow take down Shadow Spire. And also at the end of the episode, they take Andy out of the prison cell and will brings him into John and Lila's house, and now he's moved in with John and Lila.
Yeah.
So this relationship's developing, and they're bonding, and it's getting better, which makes me feel like it's going to continue to go this way until something happens to him. Maybe Damien Dark like realizes that Andy Diggle is like, or finally meets him after giving away the secrets and helping them find him, and is really mad about it and then kills him. That's why I think it just makes so much sense. Not saying that your theory, Dan, doesn't make sense, but I think this one is just also a possibility and my number one choice of what happens.
For those that don't know, my theory is that it's Oliver's baby mama that we met at the mid-season premiere. Well, we met her, not mid-season premiere, the crossover episode, and we've also met her in like season 2 or whatever. We also met Oliver's son.
Connor.
And what?
It's not Connor, is it?
It's like William, I
Yeah.
think, right? They changed it.
No,
but
it might
he's
be Connor.
no.
Is it
they-
like after his father? Or
They're gonna
somebody?
have another son, and Connor Hawk will be in the future. We'll get to that when we get to Days of Future or Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, they meet Connor Hawk in episode 2?
No. Remember I told you they go to the future and they meet future Oliver with the one arm and
Yes.
the goatee? You're also going to meet Connor Hawk.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he's going to be the second Green Arrow.
Okay.
So somewhere along the way, he's going to have a son with
Probably
her,
him and Felicity, yeah.
maybe Felicity or
I would
whatever.
think, yeah.
Somebody else. But I don't know if that still works if she's parallel. Doesn't matter.
It can still work. Still
guess.
leg, it's not a vagina.
That's true. But But my theory is, it's the baby mama somehow, like, maybe Dark finds out, like, oh, you have a family, well, I have a family kind of thing too. Or, like, I have my family, I'm going to go after yours, or something along those lines, and goes after the mother, and then Felicity finds out. Because if you remember in the crossover episode, he tells her the one time, then all that shit goes bad. Then when Barry comes back the second time to kind of redo it, he's like, don't tell her. And so he doesn't, so he's holding the secret in or whatever. But then if you look at the end of the mid-season premiere, when they're in the limo, Felicity's not wearing their wedding ring, but they were very obvious about showing it, like putting it back on and like all this stuff. She's not wearing it at that point. So, and Stephen Amell has said, I'm going to mess this up, like this Felicity, like Oliver will mess this relationship up. And it's that son thing is going to come back up or whatever. So I think he's going to tell her, or it's going to come up somehow. And then the mother dies. And then, like, he ends up having to raise this kid, and maybe he changes his name to Connor. I doubt it, just maybe as, like, a protection thing, which could be interesting.
Like, this isn't my son. This is Connor Hawk.
Yeah, or something like that. Because Hawk is kind of out of, like, where does Hawk come from?
It's like one of those things where he just looks in the public like, Peter Griffin, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it. One of those.
Yeah, Connor Hawk. Yep, Hawk, that's it. But the most important thing that came out of this episode for me is when they're doing their mission and Felicity's back in action, and he's like, Overwatch, and then he's like, she's like, Overwatch, like, he's like, yeah, I'm trying to name. He's like, besides, Oracle was taken. I was just like, that is in this universe. That is in this universe. I got a little giddy about it, especially because they've mentioned Bloodhaven in the past, which is where Nightwing resides. They've mentioned, and it was Rip Hunter that said, I've seen Men of Steel die in Dark Knight. So I thought it was Vandal Savage, but so that means they're and then in the newspaper in the future it says Wayne Tech. So Batman is in this universe, and that's all that matters. That's all I cared about at that episode. But so Felicity's back in the game, and she is now Overwatch, which is a moderately okay name.
And also Amanda Waller bit the dust too.
That's right.
They killed off Amanda Waller for this episode.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay because we're going to see Viola Davis in the cinematic universe.
I wasn't expecting, because I thought they were going to do the same cliche where, like, the guy was about to kill her, but some, like, Deus Ex Machina was going to come in and, like, just stop. But, like, they actually all went all the way with it. Like, oh, shit.
Like, poof, didn't even look. Just bam, headshot.
Right in the
head.
Very quick.
I thought Lila was going to bite the dust there, too.
I would have been sad if Lila would have died.
I would have. Yeah.
I like Lila.
Yeah, she's
a
cool.
good character for the show.
Could she be the one that's in the grave?
No.
But no, because then Diggle would be there, right? Unless he left already.
Same thing like with Andy. Like, I can only imagine John being there for Andy or Lila in the grave. But yeah.
Right. And because Barry would be the one, like, he's taking the time to show up. So I feel like, because he would know about the mother thing, and maybe would, I don't know.
Maybe.
We were probably all wrong, and it's probably like Quentin or something. Who we haven't seen. We didn't see the last episode.
We didn't, but I'm like liking Quentin this season.
Yeah.
So I want to be sad.
And just because you met him in person.
I did meet him in person. Paul Blackthorne, very nice guy.
Yes.
Very nice guy.
Retweet our stuff anytime.
Yes, please. We had 2 retweets on part 1 of our last episode.
We did.
It's pretty exciting. One was I think a random fan, and the other one was a retweet because that person was retweeting anything that had hashtag Oscars.
Right. I think it was more like a computerized thing. I don't think it was specifically a person.
Whatever. 2 retweets.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
Yeah. People are liking it on YouTube and all that stuff.
That's good.
We're getting a good listens, but that doesn't matter. Keeping with this.
I think that's it for. Is that it for Arrow?
That's pretty much it for Arrow. This week we're going to see the return of Arsenal / Roy Harper, and also Nyssa, who's going to take her stand and try and get the spot of Ra's al Ghul from Malcolm Merlin. So that should be interesting. Yeah, again. God. And what's Dark up to?
It's not a dark one. They have
the calculator.
Yes, it's Roy's new villain.
I heard has a connection to someone on Team Arrow. I know who it is, but
yeah, me too.
I don't. Do you want to know, or do you want to be surprised?
If it's
Felicity. It's her father.
No way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yep. So we've seen her mom, and we've seen her.
Man,
now we'll see your dad.
Quentin's getting some of that too, man. See, Quentin is opening up as a person. He's tapping that ass.
Well, if this was The Walking Dead, that'd be a perfect example for him to die, because they start as soon as characters start opening up and like becoming relatable on the show on Walking Dead, they're done.
Yeah, well, Walking Dead sucks. So,
well, maybe. Anyway, on to the newest addition to the Arrowverse, Legends of Tomorrow, DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
To complete our Legends of Team Flaro team that we also watch together every single week.
Because we're a bunch of nerds.
Nerds.
We don't call it Gotham. Thank God we don't have to put Gotham in there.
Yeah.
If it was part of the first, it'd be like Legends of Team Flaro that live in Gotham or
Yeah,
something
right.
something ridiculous.
That doesn't come back until like what? March?
Middle of February or something.
Late February, I think. Like 16th?
Well, I remember reading that they said that they're going to take like no breaks for that first part, and then they were going to take a really long ass break, and then just like full force for the rest of the season, which is okay, I guess.
Might be the 15th. I don't know.
We'll get back to that. So, Legends of Tomorrow is the continuation of what the crossover was this year, where Vandal Savage is up to no good, started making trouble in their neighborhood. Good one.
Good
right.
one.
And so Rip Hunter, who is a time master, stop me if I'm wrong at any point, decides that it, like in the future, it's 2146 or 2156, something like that. Yeah. He decides, like, all right, it's getting too out of hand. His family gets killed, and he's like, I need to get a special team together to help stop Vandal Savage so, like, our future can go on and things will be good and stuff like that. He doesn't get approved for it, so he kind of goes rogue and takes his own ship, the Wave Rider, something like that. Yeah, and then goes back to 2016, of course, of all years, and picks basically the secondary leftover characters of the Arrowverse to become a team.
Yes.
Which is one of my bigger complaints of the show, is that they don't really have a lot of diversity in it. It was just like the leftovers that they're using, which they kind of try to explain as just,
well, that's kind of
you were the ones that were available. But it would have been cooler if he kind of like spread his wings a little bit more, if like a Jonah Hex who they'll run into, but it would be cool if he was more of like a stationary member, or like Constantine was a stationary member, like just a little more variety.
Constantine,
because to me it seems like a lot of them are the same. You kind of have the two criminals, you got the assassin, like they're all kind of similar. Two of them make up one Firestorm. Right. I thought the other big thing is as much as I love Captain Cold and even Heatwave's pretty cool too, I feel like they're just there to be there to like complete a team.
Yeah.
They seem a little out of place.
Well, you guys have seen all like the commercials and advertisements for it where Rip Hunter's like, in my world, in my time, you guys aren't heroes, you're considered legends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this episode, we actually find out that that's not the case, and Rip Hunter only picked them because they had the least...
least to lose.
Least to lose. Like their existence and time had the least effect on the time stream.
Right.
Which is really depressing, actually.
Yeah.
Especially for Ray Palmer.
Sucks. Yeah, because he was all about legacy.
He's all about legacy, and the only reason he joined the team is because he wanted to make something more of his second chance life.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finds out that he actually doesn't really do anything about it. And then they kind of get the mentality thanks to Sarah, which thank God Sarah's back.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good.
She does.
Mm-hmm. I like her new like vibe kind of character she's got going.
But thanks to her, we figured that she's like, yeah, but we can still change our future with this new stuff because this hasn't happened yet.
Right.
But it hasn't happened yet. But yet, Eobard Thawne still exists. Anyway, I'm still upset. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the future. You can't change the future, but they're changing the future.
Yeah,
so
right.
Whatever. That's fine. It's only the same people making the shows, but
the only comment I have about Sarah Lance is, why is her hair always wet
and like
in her
slick
suit?
back?
I know.
Why?
I am always. I'm glad I'm not the only one who
why
noticed
is
that.
it
Like,
wet?
it's always fucking wet. Like, I don't know why she puts like oil in that shit or something.
Yeah, she's put
Why
like
is it wet?
big thing of grease, like.
She took your oil, Dan.
Yeah, my hair gel. Yeah.
Like, what? Like, it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
No.
And well, the way she got her suit was total bullshit too. Like she's, doing some like training with her sister, and then she's
Kicking her sister's ass, by the way, because again, Sarah's better than Laurel.
Thank you. And Laurel's like, well, maybe you can just be like the White Canary, and then it's like, and I also have a suit for you that's Cisco.
Thank
like
you,
basically, anytime they get a new suit or piece of technology, they're just like, well, Cisco made it.
Yeah.
It's like, how much time does that man have on his hands that he's making all this stuff? He's not a slave to like these people.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Cisco, we need a new suit for my sister who's the canary, and I need her hair to always be slick back and wet.
And I need a big belly burger. Go.
And I need a big belly burger, and I need batons for me. Arrow, do you want a new suit? Okay, put a new suit on for Arrow.
To 24-hour shipping. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can we
exactly.
just stop for a second? and talk to the CW writers again one more time.
Sure.
Can you please start making Laurel Lance's character more interesting?
Mm-hmm.
During the second episode of Arrow, Amanda Waller very slyly hands Lila a flash drive. And they're like, Amanda Waller gave me a flash drive. And Laurel goes, the question is, what's on it? No shit. Honestly.
Most of her lines are kind of like, no shit, Laurel.
Yeah.
Thanks for participating.
Like
Yay,
they are easily, purposefully making it so that as fans we hate Laurel. There's no way they're not doing that on purpose because it's so easy to hate her right now. So we like Laurel Lance. We really do like the character, and we like Katie Cassidy as the actress.
She was pretty solid in season 1 and
season
2.
one
Yeah.
season 1 and season 2 were definitely her strongest ones. But like since then, her character is, and it's her character. It's not her, just her character is going down. Please start making her more interesting. Not like a Days of Our Lives type character. Please. We understand it's CW and there's some soap operas, but you got to make it a little more interesting.
I just don't want her as the Black Canary, and that's a problem. I feel like,
Yeah.
like there's nothing better than when Sarah was Black Canary. Like that season 2 when she was there, like they were tearing it up, and
Fucking
like
rocked it.
And I was just like, yes, Black Canary. And they're just like, but it's not really Black Canary.
Yeah.
It's like, it's supposed to be the other one. You know? We were talking about it last night with like twins, where it's like, they always say like you have like the twin and then you have like the other twin.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah,
you know, you have
definitely.
Sarah Lance, like, oh, and then you have Laurel over there in the corner.
She's like the derp sister. Like,
And then she's like, you know, she's banging her head on the wall, like, I want to be the Black Canary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, you could be it. And so, like, when Sarah's like, yeah, I'm going to leave. It's like, damn it. All right, Laurel, you're in. Like, tag in.
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah, please make her more interesting. Give her some more lines than just, well, we should probably find out what's on the flash drive. You know what? I was just going to shove this up my ass. I wasn't thinking of looking what was on the hard drive.
It's just not fun anymore.
Or if she's gonna say that stuff, have the characters kind of give her like the look, like the fuck,
Yeah.
like no, or say no
Like
shit.
if you're
Laurel.
gonna make her say stupid stuff, make the characters know that she's saying stupid stuff.
Right, and like you're supposed to be a lawyer, like you're supposed to have like some intelligence.
No, she's
and,
assistant district attorney.
right, that's
Yeah.
big stuff. Yeah,
She had that one moment with the cop, I think, where she had to distract him, but other than that,
Oh yeah, she like basically just told her she was like fucking stupid.
yeah.
Hey, did you do the swim? I don't need the ADA to tell me what to do. It's like, oh well, maybe I thought you were gonna do your job.
yeah,
That-
and I was like, oh, cool, Laurel, all right.
Which was a
All
sick
right.
burn. That was a sick.
That was a
burn.
pretty good burn.
But other than that, she says a lot of stupid shit all the time. It was
and like
really annoying.
her story really doesn't have a purpose. Like her
She's
her
just there, like, yeah.
story arc,
Like
whatever.
it was, yeah. It was all resolved in seasons 1 and 2, and then that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's exactly true. Because her relationship with her dad's like kind of better, but not really better. But they aren't really developing that anymore. Sarah's back, and now she's traveling time. So
And
like,
she was cool with that. Like,
uh-huh.
yeah, go travel.
Tommy's
time.
still fucking dead. Like, what else is Laurel Lance good for?
Right.
Oliver's with Felicity.
Which, and speaking of Tommy being dead and stuff, and it keeps making me think of like, now that they have this Flash, see, the writers I think are backing themselves into a bit of a corner with the Flash being able to time travel, because now anything that goes bad, you literally can just be like, well, just have Flash run back in time and fix it.
But that hasn't happened really.
Right, but they could like go back and run in time and stop Felicity from getting shot.
They
Run back in
could,
time
but like they've already prefaced it that Barry hates going back in time
and
because
changing the past.
it's the whole just because you stop this really really bad thing from happening, something else really really bad. So it's like a Final Destination thing in a way, where something's still going to happen, but it's just not with this person.
Right. I don't know, but it seems like they could, like they kind of shouldn't have had it that be a thing. And we're saying with the Lazarus pit, that's why they quickly were just like, all right, we got to destroy this, because everyone's going to be like, well, just put him in the Lazarus pit,
Yeah.
like to bring him back to life. So they're like, okay, destroy it, and that was, Sarah was the last one, which is fine because I was kind of over the Lazarus pit anyway.
Yeah.
And all Nanda Parbat stuff, I was kind of, especially after season 3 being such a drag. I was kind of like, let's cut ties with Nanda Parbat. Let's kind of be done with that.
But this is coming back.
And this is coming back, and technically Malcolm, when he does show up, is still Ra's al Ghul. So
Yeah, and like when he shows up, it's fine.
yeah,
It's not bad.
but he plays it more like Malcolm Merlin. He's still kind of like, he doesn't really play like, oh, I'm Ra's al Ghul. He's kind
well,
of
he
like,
does.
don't
With
have that
he
presence.
does with his intel
right.
and the way he helps out Thea, which I think is still that's a really interesting story arc. Still, I'm really excited to see like why Damien Dark helps with her bloodlust, but. Yeah, it's not totally Nanda Parbat anymore. We're like getting like cocked teeth with like Nanda Parbat,
Yeah,
which is really nice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
back to DC, the Legends of Tomorrow. So yeah, it picks up and like he brings these guys together, like, oh, let's go be legends, blah blah blah, and they travel to 1975 because they want to find this like renowned specialist on all.
This specialist was actually featured in the crossover episode. They found the very, very old
videotape,
VHS tape about the only guy who ever knew anything about Vandal Savage ever was this guy.
Right. So and as well as the Hawk people.
Yes.
So they decide, all right, let's go find this guy, talk to him, whatever. Spoiler: it ends up being the son of the Hawk people in their previous life, one life before.
Mm-hmm.
One life, or maybe two lives.
It was like in the 40s, I think. Or something.
Yeah, it was in the 40s.
Okay, so maybe a couple lives.
I think it was in the.
Was it earlier than that?
Probably the 20s, because think about it. That kid was maybe not that old in that picture that they showed, but they went to the 70s and he was about to die. He was probably at least 50 or 60.
Right.
When he died.
Yeah, but he died from being shot or whatever.
Well, initially he just died in his office from natural causes.
He was about like 50, I think, in the 70s. So yeah, about that. 30s.
So. Real quick with they tried to stop his death, and ultimately they caused his death just in a different way with that like bounty hunter
Boba
guy.
Fett, total Boba Fett.
Yeah, what is that guy's name? I can't.
Kronos.
Kronos. Yeah, where was he? He wasn't in the second episode.
No, he wasn't.
They called him Darth. When they went to travel back in time, Kronos was like there in 2016, like present day, and these two like douchebags driving a BMW, like, whoa, Darth Vader. I was like, that is totally Boba Fett. You totally fucked up that thing.
Yeah.
And then Captain Cold comes up saying, like, oh, it's Boba Fett doing here. It's like, oh, yes, they finally got it right.
Yeah.
Well, those kids probably never actually saw Star Wars, so shame on them.
Yeah, shame on those kids.
Yeah, punks.
Yeah. You wanna?
Oh, so then he ends up dying. Whenever they escape Kronos and Vandal Savage and stuff, but they still kind of hang out in the 70s because I think they had a problem with the ship or whatever that they couldn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
And
you got to utilize that time period.
Yeah. So
but it was really interesting, and it was one of my problems with the first episode. Is at the end, Rip Hunter is trying to fix the Wave Rider, who, by the way, is powered by Gideon, who is Eobard Thawne's computer.
So I guess like everyone has that in the future.
Gideon's just, it's kind of like Cortana and Halo, where it's like the overall interface of like technology.
But it's different voices.
I'm pretty sure it's the same.
I looked up. There's different actors or actresses
Okay.
voicing it. Yeah.
But still, he's like trying to fix the ship and has yet to fix it. And this is during the time where the team is trying to figure out whether or not they still want to do it, even though their existence really doesn't matter. But then they realize, oh, we want to change our destinies and all this super heroic stuff. And Rip Hunter's like, awesome, I already set a course for it. I was like, but you didn't fix the fucking ship.
Yeah.
Why'd you set a course for it?
Yeah,
because
at the end of the
ship?
It kind of happens again. I think at the end of the second episode where we're like, oh, we got to make some, repairs to the ship or whatever, and then they're all like, all right, let's do this, for. We'll get to it. And then he's like, cool, let's go. And he's like, and just blast off or whatever. And like, but wait, when did you fix the ship?
Yeah. It's twice.
Yeah, it's two plot holes.
It's twice Guggenheim.
See, the more shows they get, I think the lazier they're getting with this writing because they keep spreading themselves thinner and thinner. So it's like great that we're seeing more characters and more world, but at the same time, are we really getting better quality?
How hard is that though to realize? Oh, he's fixing the ship and it's still broke. But at the end of the episode, we're still gonna have him blast off. Blast off where? In the time zone? Like they can't.
Well, that's what they were like hiding out in like Norway of 75 or something. Then they go back to the United States to meet young Martin Stein. Mm-hmm. That's what the second episode. So I guess
cool.
we'll go into that.
Who's he played by?
Some other actor or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's not Victor Garber.
But he's not like Martin Stein, the old. He's like kind of a playboy kind of.
He hits on very Sarah. Different.
So he hits on Sarah. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Cool.
Which causes a problem that he hits on Sarah because if he like Sarah and it's like the same right at the time when he's supposed to meet his wife.
I saw the trailer where like his ring disappears.
He smokes a doobie too. So
they have some weed and stuff. And at the end, one part, Sarah's leaving. There's like 3 joints on the desk. She's like takes them with her, and they're like, all right, let's go get Vandal is trying to sell these like Norwegian missiles, like nuclear weapons or whatever, right? At like a big arms deal. And that's where Damien Dark is.
Okay.
So Dark is trying to buy the weapons, other terrorists.
This is episode 2 now.
Yeah, we're
he's kind of dressed up like Dr. No or something.
Yeah, he's got like this completely like white, like Dr. Evil suit kind of thing on. And he's only in it for a few minutes, but it's still pretty cool. And so then the team like are all split up, whatever, and a couple of them try to like, get information, also buy the deal or whatever. And they end up buying this missile because Martin Stein kind of gets really cocky and whatever. And they buy the missile, but then Vandal kind of sees, like recognizes them and like, oh boy, like we're into trouble, blah, blah, blah. And a fight breaks out and Adam shows up and like he was small at one point and then he kind of comes out and he's fighting everybody. And in the process, a piece of his suit breaks off, the part of like one of the blasters. Mm-hmm. And Vandal's guys find it, and so Rip's like, shit, now we have to get it back because if they reverse engineer it, they'll have laser guns in the 70s, and then going forward. Shows that the whole city's and like Central City is on fire if they don't like fix this or whatever. So they go and steal it back, and Sarah at that point is high, and they're like, should you really be fighting right now? You're like stoned. She's like, I could fight these guys unconscious. And so she like jumps down, like beats the shit out of these, because they're all like scientists and stuff, like not like fighters and stuff. Yeah. Right. So they end up getting the piece back or whatever, and then they meet and the other part of the team, like Cold, Adam, and Mick, Rory, break into Vandal Savage's house to try and steal the dagger that has a connection to all of them, to the Hawk people and Vandal. And they end up getting captured, of course, and Vandal shows up and blah, blah, blah. And then the rest of the team comes to help him out. And that's when Carter and Vandal go into like a scuffle, and he stabs Vandal, but then of course he tells him, no, you can't kill me, it has to be Shahira, Hawk Girl, yeah. And he turns the knife on him and stabs Carter, who ends up dying, and his spirit gets absorbed into Vandal. And then Kendra gets stabbed because of course she's all pissy and like charges at him and like gets stabbed or whatever, but she lives for now at least. And then they escape, and then the ship's all fixed or whatever, and yeah.
And I didn't see this episode, which is really interesting because I googled the guy who plays Carter, which is something German. Yeah. And that's the second time I've done that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Omar, something September 11th.
I'll talk about the first thing at the end of the episode, which is a cool segment we're going to try and do eventually on the show. Sorry for the squeaking. I'm just trying to move the mic around. But he's not doing anything after the show. He's nothing planned on IMDb. Mm-hmm. I mean, like he's going to keep showing up in flashbacks, but like his main character is he's quoted for 16 episodes, so I think so.
So I think so, yeah.
But again, he's not doing anything else. So why would you just show up at the flashbacks unless Hawk Girl is going to die eventually and they're going to respawn? Which, are they going to respawn as children? Is it one of those things where like they die, but then all of a sudden the first thing they see is like them coming out of the womb type thing?
Well, from whose womb?
I don't know.
God's. Yeah, I don't know how.
God's womb.
To be honest, if the Hawk people both died, I'd be like, okay.
What's the whole point of Vandal Savage, though?
Right. If you don't have them, you can't kill Savage. Yeah. So you have to have it. You would have to have Hawk Girl. So Hawk Girl's not going anywhere. Or if she does, like you said, they'd come back in adult form probably.
Right. But I'm pretty excited to watch episode 2 and continue. Jesus. Sorry for the music again. But to continue to see what happens with it. Are you excited, Patrick?
I'm excited.
You're excited?
I'm excited.
It's really hot in here.
It's really hot. We can't open the door.
No, we can't.
We're almost done, I think.
I'm kind of starting to fall asleep.
How much time are we at right now?
We're at about 45 minutes.
All right, we still have to talk about DC Week itself.
Well, let me see. I think that's it for Legends. The third episode looks okay. It's about something about like they go after Vandal's like financials or something. Mm-hmm. I really just want to see the Jonah Hex one when they go into the Old West, and I want to see like the Ra's al Ghul one. I want to see how the makeup looks too. That's all I care about is like when they have to bring in the fun villains and stuff like that. Otherwise, the show is pretty good for me. It's not Arrow, it's not Flash, but it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Team's okay. Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Cool. So a part of the week of the mid-season premieres of everything on Tuesday, right after Flash, there's this thing called DC Week, which is hosted by the great Kevin Smith, huge comic advocator, funny guy, one of Dan's heroes. And he was there to talk about all the new stuff that was happening in the cinematic universe with DC, with acclaimed author of the New 52, as well as what DC is going to do next after the New 52, Jeff Johns, who is one of my favorite comic book writers today, in my opinion. He does a really, really good job with the Green Lantern series. for the New 52 and just really, really good writer. And they're talking about all of the Batman versus Superman stuff. They talk about what's going on there. The creature that you saw in the most recent trailer is in fact Doomsday. I knew there were articles saying there's oh no, it's just this one monster, or it's just a lab creation or whatever. It is in fact Doomsday. Jeff Johns said it himself. It's official.
Yes.
So that was for Batman vs Superman. Do you want to talk about the Wonder Woman stuff, Patrick, if you remember?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what he kind of just Jeff Johns kind of just went over who Wonder Woman is. I can't remember if he went over her origin story, but
yeah,
just,
he did.
He did. Okay. I think it's still the same from the comics, where I think her mother, Queen Hippolyta, who's now going to be played by Connie Nielsen from Gladiator, and I believe she sculpted her out of clay, and then kind of had the gods bless her, and then she became a real
girl.
A real girl. And then so yeah, he went over that, and then also just kind of summed up Wonder Woman, who's just one of the best fighters in the DC universe, and also very caring, loving, and an ambassador to Paradise Island and to mankind as well.
And he was also saying that the Amazonians used to protect the humans,
right?
Yeah.
At some point, but then as humans, we mess up a lot, and we messed up so much that most of the Amazonians are like, screw the humans.
Yeah.
But Diane's like, no, we still got to fight for the humans.
I still see good in them. Yeah.
Yeah. So she sticks around and basically he's doing a one-man army against their troubles and whatnot.
Yeah, and the footage looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not really big on the slow-mo. A few shots where where she's fighting these Nazi soldiers or
World War I, but so German
soldiers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so not Nazi. My bad. And it had slow-mo in it, which for me that felt really Zack Snyder-ish to me. And I was never a big fan of that part of his style of directing.
Which actually, it's a woman director.
Yeah, it's Patty Jenkins. So I don't know if that's just Zack Snyder kind of overreaching his.
I know he's going to be kind of the Kevin Feige of the DC universe.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige is the main producer of the Marvel movies, and he's kind of master of continuity, make sure everything kind of lines up and looks the same and blah, blah, blah. So I think that's what Zack Snyder's going to be, and same with Jeff Johns. Snack Snyder, yeah. He likes snacks.
Yeah.
No, and Jeff Johns, too. Both of them are kind of doing that position. So that way when Justice League Part 2 is done, if Zack Snyder wants to move on, I think Jeff Johns will continue. But I noticed that maybe the slow-mo maybe was just there for that bit teaser there, or whatever. So
Gal Gadot, she looks good.
She does look good.
Yeah.
She looks more and more convincing every photo I see of her.
Yeah, I'm so iffy on if she'll be able to carry. I think just acting wise and just I think personality, because I'm not really quite familiar with her acting range, so that's still up in the air. But I think as a Wonder Woman, she looks great.
I just wish she was a hair bigger. I feel like she should just be just a slightest bit macho.
I have my own look of Wonder Woman. It's kind of the George Perez 1980s Wonder Woman, where she's much bigger. She's taller than me by a foot, and she's she's built,
stocky,
sturdy.
She's sturdy,
sturdy woman.
I always think of her as the Justice League animated that kind of Wonder Woman. That's my
at least the voice
version.
by Susan Eisberg, and she's got kind of the wild hair, black hair. So that's my Wonder Woman. But Gal Gadot, I think, still works for me.
I'm really excited for Chris Pine and Steve Trevor too.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be really, really cool. He's a good actor, and I think it's a good role for him to play compared to Hal Jordan.
Which he said he was never offered. It was always just
really?
Yeah, it was just Steve Trevor.
There you go.
Has he confirmed that he's playing old Steve Trevor and then his grandson?
I think that was a rumor. I don't know if that's
just
a
a rumor?
confirmed
Okay.
thing.
They didn't touch on that.
They make it seem like he's going to be in present time, which obviously wouldn't make sense. So unless he's playing either a grandson or they somehow made it so that he can live forever, not forever, but doesn't age.
I'd rather have it be his grandson, because then Diana could talk to him about his grandfather.
Yeah, like a Steve Trevor the Third or something.
He's a war hero and stuff.
More or less like Captain America.
He gets frozen or something somehow, or
with
something.
Peggy Carter.
Oh, I see.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, but then he would be way old, because the World War I era, he would be in his hundreds.
Not necessarily, not necessarily the whole freezing thing. I'm talking about the relationship that Wonder Woman will have with Steve Trevor's grandson.
I see.
If they're doing that.
I see.
I predict that kind of vibe to it.
Okay, I thought
'Cause
you
I
meant
think the
like
whole
keep him keep him alive.
keeping him alive, which
Yeah.
always seems a little too goofy for the cinematic universe. Like
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, they can get away because they're a little bit more lighthearted and goofy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looked Wonder Woman. Like I was on the fence. I'm still kind of on the fence about Gal Gadot, but I think it should be pretty cool. I like that they brought the shield and sword back because I know for a while they kind of just did like Lasso of Truth and like her fists, like with that Justice League cartoon and stuff. So they're bringing back the sword and shield and even like a spear. I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
like in
kinda
the
cool.
animated Wonder Woman, which I definitely recommend to check out. They brought back kind of the spear and they brought
She's
back
a
the
warrior.
warrior.
That's-
Yeah,
yeah,
the warrior
that's what it
aspect
is.
of the Amazons and Wonder
Right.
Woman.
So that's cool.
Two other things they talked about, which kind of play into Batman vs Superman, is the Aquaman and Flash characters.
Mm-hmm.
We keep loving Aquaman.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa, every single picture, every single conversation about it. We're really, really into it as Arthur Curry. Really, really excited to see how that goes on. We still don't know yet because of how the new 52 is. Arthur Curry's still kind of like a clean-cut guy, whereas Jason Momoa in his current state looks like from the previous comic book series of Aquaman, who is really, really old. His son's dead. He has really long hair and he has a hook for a hand. That's who Jason Momoa kind of looks like right now. So, do you guys have any ideas of how that's going to happen? Do you think they're going to keep him with the long hair and it's going to be like, or like kind of like a Justice League Volume 1, JLA Volume 1?
Until his origin movie.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Was I talking about it with you, Patrick? Where all these movies that end up being
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
with the spin-offs, they're all going to be prequels.
Right.
They're doing like the Marvel thing in reverse.
Yes.
Yeah,
pretty much.
where they're doing like big team up movie, and now you're gonna see like, okay, well, here's his origin, here's his origin, here's her origin. So like Wonder Woman, okay, so like it takes place in World War I, but then we're in present time with Justice League and Batman, Superman, and all that stuff. So prequel. Flash, how he gets his powers, prequel. You know, Arthur Curry, all those like prequel, but we're gonna see them first in the Justice League. So I don't know if I want to see prequel after prequel. You know what I mean? Some of them maybe we don't see their origins. Maybe they're just already it. So maybe.
Well, I think we are for everybody. I think the only origins we're not seeing before before Justice League is Green Lantern, if he's even in the Justice League.
Cyborg,
And Cyborg is I think after the Justice League movie.
Flash is before Justice League.
Flash
too,
is
isn't it?
before. I think everybody except for Cyborg and Green Lantern.
Or no, is Flash between? I think there's one
I
between
might have a
part 1 and part
I might
2.
have a picture of
Yeah,
what's happening.
look that up because some of them are before Justice League, which would be okay, and then some of them are after. Like Green Lantern, of course, after. Cyborg is after, and
Yeah.
I thought Flash was after, either before or in between it or after.
It's after.
Flash is after.
Everything's after.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what-
Wonder Woman comes after JLA Part 1.
right.
Then it's Aquaman 2018,
Wait,
Flash 20.
or Wonder Woman's after Justice League Part 1.
Wonder Woman was 2017.
So
it's
it's Justice League.
Part
Really?
1, yeah.
Oh, shit.
I thought it was Wonder Woman then Justice League.
This is an old picture. It might be wrong. But Aquaman and Flash in 2018, JLA Part 2 in 2019, Shazam's supposed to come out in 2019, Green Lantern and Cyborg movies all come out in 2020, and more standalone Batman Superman movies,
That
So-
Ben Affleck may or not direct or something like that.
which
Yeah.
would be sweet if he did.
That'd be cool.
I think he's gonna.
I think so.
So we got Wonder Woman is June 23rd, 2017, and the Justice League Part 1 is November. So Wonder
Okay, it
Woman's
is
first.
after. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's first. Ooh, and that's right. Amber Heard is rumored to play Mira, Aquaman's.
Oh, yes,
Queen.
yes.
Right.
Weren't there two people? I thought there were two girls who were rumored.
I don't know. It just says for Justice League Part 1, it says Mira Amber Heard, Ezra Miller for Flash. Yeah.
And during the DC week, when they were talking about the Flash stuff, they interviewed Ezra Miller. It brought me a little more confidence in him and his abilities to play Barry Allen in the Flash. Dan, not so much. I know we talked about
Brought me
this.
less confidence.
Less confidence. It brought me more confidence. I've never heard Ezra Miller talk before.
But like whenever I hear other people talk about it, it's usually about his very critical praise with other movies that he's been in with performances.
Yeah.
So I'm just like going on blind faith that it's.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've
he's a good pick.
been making assumptions without seeing him in anything. We knew he's been in like Perks of Wallflower and all these other movies. We've never seen him before in
I've
movies.
seen him.
You have?
And he was a little bit younger, but he did it. But he was in the show Californication I watched.
Okay.
And I mean, the character he's playing was kind of like the David Duchovny's character's daughter's boyfriend or whatever, and he was kind of like douchey at a couple of points and stuff like that. And he just always seems like he's a mess.
Yeah.
I don't know, like with like the hair and like just doesn't strike me as like Barry Allen. Barry Allen seems like Aryan race, like good boy, blonde hair or light brown hair.
Well, like the thing with like Barry Allen, even like the early comics, like the first edition, is that he is a head case.
Right.
He's always late. He's always fumbling around. He's a real klutzy kind of guy. That's really who he is. And the way Ezra Miller was talking about the character in his interview for this DC week, it brought me more faith because to me he sounded like a Barry Allen. Barry Allen's a very upbeat kind of guy, kind of sarcastic. Again, good. He is good friends with Oliver Queen in the comics and all the other shows. So like to see that happen with the like sarcastic attitude, I think he's gonna do better than I expected so far. I still need to see more, but my faith is slowly rising.
Because all the other stuff they showed was just concept art. I think that was that.
He I don't know. I'm gonna go into it open-minded, but I think he's probably my least excited for casting. Like, the Victor Stone guy, the one playing Cyborg, I was kind of like, okay, he looks the part, and I think he'll be fine. Jason Momoa, perfect. You know, making it. I think he'll make Aquaman as cool as he can be. Wonder Woman, I think he'll be fine. You know, and like Batman, I've now grown to accept and think that's perfect and a good choice and all that. Superman, it is what it is. Like I like him. But yeah, Ezra Miller, I'm like on the fence about. So we'll see.
Okay, and then the final movie they talked about during DC Week was in the work in progress of a Green Lantern Corps movie.
Yes.
I am super excited. That's all they said, though. All Jeff Johns said was like, there's going to be a Green Lantern Corps movie.
That was it? They didn't really...
Nope, that's all they said.
I missed that one. I didn't know if there was any...
The way he said it was, he goes, well, we've gone on land, we've gone into the water, the next place would be we have to go to space. And so like Kevin Smith was like getting all excited. He's like, we're going to be having a Green Lantern Corps movie. So,
which Tyrese Gibson, for the past year or so, has already been rumored to play Jonathan Stewart. And we know has had meetings with Warner Brothers.
Right.
So we'll see where it goes. I'm okay with him being John Stewart. We talked about John Krasinski yesterday.
We did.
The last episode being Green Lantern, possibly. That could be pretty cool.
That could be cool.
Little Hal Jordan action.
Yep.
I'm excited to see. I hope they put in Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner as well, bringing the whole like big four of those guys. There is a new one that they just created recently, which is the one that you asked me about in that like slideshow of Green Lantern. I think it's a gay Green Lantern. I think he's gay, which is the reason why they brought him in, is because they keep trying to create diversity, which again I'm not complaining about. But that's why he's there.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that they're starting the first Green Lantern movie
with everyone.
With the actual world, because like with the one with Ryan Reynolds and like other superhero movies from Fantastic Worlds, they tend to just make them stuck on Earth, like the least interesting place. Like with the Ryan, oh my god, I cannot say his fucking name.
Ryan
Reynolds. In that movie, the most interesting parts were on Oa.
Yeah.
And whenever they went back to Earth, I was like, oh man, I want to go back to Oa. Damn. And it just it was very plotting.
Although
and with Thor, even though I thought it kind of worked, but yeah, the most interesting place was Asgard.
For sure.
But the most part was just fish out of water on Earth.
What will be really interesting is if they use the story arc with the New 52, which is this villain Parallax kind of possesses Hal Jordan, and makes him pretty much blow up Central City. Not Central City, Coast City, excuse me.
Coast City,
Pretty much just destroy Coast City. And in the New 52, Parallax, gets out of Hal Jordan, and he kind of comes back to his own state. And as Hal Jordan tries to rebuild Coast City and tries to get his reputation back, because everybody just thinks he just went totally ballistic, killing his own members of the Green Lantern Corps and all these other people. It's really interesting if they use that story arc too, because that creates a lot of demand to travel through space, to try and find Parallax, to try and stop Sinestro and fear in general.
The only reason I don't think they would do it right off the gate is I think that they're going to introduce, if they decide to bring all four of like the big Green Lanterns in, the Earth Green Lanterns in, I feel like at least one of them is going to need an origin story, right? So let's say it's Jon Stewart, right? Well, so we'll have Hal Jordan's already the Green Lantern. The other ones are already Green Lantern. I know that the order's not matching up, but let's say, and then we spend most of the movie of them like recruiting Jon Stewart and like bringing him into the Green Lantern. I think that's kind of what the movie's going to be about. And then like maybe the villain is like Sinestro and like how he turns to the fear or something.
I kind of hope they don't. If they do an origins, I said do that they actually don't start with Kyle. That's a really good point, because if they start with Kyle, then they have nowhere to go. Kyle's like the last big one,
right?
Compared to this new one they just created again. But yeah, if they start with Kyle, there's nowhere to go except for like past prequel movies, which we don't want to see that. We want to keep seeing the time go and go and go and go. So maybe it is Hal Jordan, and they start recruiting Jon Stewart.
Yeah, so maybe it's just the two of them then, and then they say core because you're also going to see like
The Kilowog
and all those guys. Yeah, so that it might not necessarily mean all of the Earth Green Lanterns,
right?
Which I'm okay with too. I'd rather see the alien.
And that could get almost
Green
kind of
Lanterns.
confusing too.
Yeah.
Like, okay, which Earth?
Yeah,
Green
which
Lantern am I
one should
supposed
we
to root
watch?
for? Like,
Yeah.
like
Because especially
four of them.
if only one of them is supposed to be on the Justice League.
Yeah, that.
Which one? Like you're not gonna have two of them. So I actually think it's either gonna be Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart.
One
It's
of those
probably not
two.
gonna be both.
I think it is going to be both, because at one point Hal Jordan actually does back out of Justice League.
So maybe Justice League Part 1 will be Hal Jordan, and then Part 2 might be Jon Stewart or something
Maybe.
like that.
Or
Oh,
maybe,
actually-
maybe if this first Green Lantern movie actually is a hit and they want to do sequels, they could
Now that I think about it,
like mess with that kind of storyline.
Lantern is a year after Part 2, so both Justice Leagues would have to happen. So maybe Hal Jordan goes through both Justice Leagues and then is like, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's
And
just,
backs out.
or maybe he's not even in Part 1, and then they show him in Part 1 or Part 2. They really bring in his character in Part 2.
Right.
And then maybe there's something like, oh, we need more recruits. I gotta go find more recruits. And then he goes and finds
that's how it
John
sets up
and
Core.
Guy and Kyle.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. We're
We'll
just
see.
spitballing here at Geekcast. That's all we're doing here.
Yep.
And finally, the big event that happened with DC Week is the new trailer of Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best editing I've seen this year so far, which we're still in January, but yeah. Still.
Yeah, if nothing else, the song and like the pacing of the trailer worked for me. Like they were like the beats of like the song were like cut nicely together with action shots of like the
It's one of
bullets.
those moments where you just keep on, you just naturally start bobbing your head to it because you just gets you.
I was not a fan of the trailer.
I knew I was waiting for him to say it.
Oh, really?
I was not a fan, and I wasn't a fan because with the song, it made it seem like a Deadpool trailer, where it's kind of silly, and it's all like it just didn't feel like a DC thing to me. It really, really didn't. And again, I've only maybe seen it one other time after it, so I haven't like fully like indulged myself in this trailer. But at first glance, I was like, what's going on here? This is not what I signed up for. I signed up for all these
I think there needs to be
villains
I think these are like with these villains and they're very eccentric. I think there just needs to be some kind of, I think a noticeable amount of humor to it. I mean, with the first trailer, that was very, that was very kind of grim, and this one they showed, okay, this also is going to have some humor to it and some personality.
But it's not even. I'm not even worried about the humor, because you can do humor. It was just silly. It seemed playful.
See, I'm not really too worried because I know it's going to be pretty dark and like grueling and kind of like a Revenant, where you're kind of like have to sit there and digest it for a minute, because they had to have psychologists and like psychiatrists on set because of how dark like this matter was, in the case people kind of get messed up and stuff. So I'm not too worried. I think they might have just did that as a fanfare, the trailer, and like with the silliness, and like maybe just took all the kind of funny parts and just escalated them a little bit for the trailer. To be honest, most of that stuff could be deleted scenes, that we never even see in the movie. So I'm not taking that trailer. I'm not like totally like, this is gonna be too silly, or this is gonna be.
I think it was the song.
Could be the
I
song.
think it was
like-
Bohemian Rhapsody that ruined it for me, which is really sad to say. But to me, I think Bohemian Rhapsody ruined the trailer.
You almost be tempted
man.
to just like put it on mute and just watch it for the visuals and
Yeah.
see like what you think of it.
For me, like the song, I thought was perfect because it kind of just told me like how these characters are going to be like. Because the song is a chaotic but brilliantly
I was just thinking that,
written
like,
song.
the way it
Very
changes
chaotic.
and-
It's all over the fucking place, and this is how these characters are going to be when they're trying to save the world, and how Joel Kinnaman's character,
Rick Flag.
he's going to he's basically babysitting them. He's trying to keep them all together so they just behave for one night or whatever. And I thought that was like the perfect song to kind of get that across.
Which is really interesting because in the New 52, episode or volume 1 of Suicide Squad, it isn't Rick Flag who's like taking over. It's actually Deadshot.
Yeah, that's right.
He's
Yeah.
like headed of the Suicide Squad.
And of course, him and Harley kind of they have like a one night fling or something like that. Or,
In that
Yeah,
movie
yes,
they
they-
did, yeah.
yeah,
Even in the comics, they did.
I think
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's graphic. No, just kidding.
I hope so. I want to see Margot Robbie more nude, more.
That's Greg St. Clair saying that.
Love you, Mom.
Yep. Speaking of Harley, we got to see a lot more of her in this trailer. It was a little more than
It was very Harley focused.
yeah, and
That
Joker focused.
That and Boomerang focused, actually. I think Boomerang might have stole the trailer.
Boomerang
his-
was pretty
of his-
cool.
I think he might be
His
like
silliness.
this. He might actually steal scenes more than Harley or the Joker. He has the potential.
I bet he dies.
You think he's gonna die?
I just
Yeah.
want because I'm not a fan of Jai Courtney. It's just he
I
seems a
am.
very bland actor, especially when they put him in these hero roles. So I really want I want to see if he can do villains in an entertaining way too.
I don't think he's gonna die. I think you're gonna see like Slipknot or like
Killer
one of
Croc.
those, like Killer Croc or even what's the other one that's like Slipknot? I don't know. One of those like smaller
Diablo or
El
something.
Diablo. Thank you. One of those are probably gonna die. You're not gonna see Deadshot die because Will Smith probably wasn't about that. Harley Quinn's not gonna die. Joker's not gonna die. Captain Boomerang, I don't think is gonna die. I feel like because there was one picture that they recently released where it was like 6 of them left and they're all like fearing for their life. It looked like it was kind of like towards the end where it was like some of them died off.
Who
And
It's
was
then
like a Katana. I
was
think
Boomerang, Katana,
because
Deadshot, Harley, and
Diablo.
Croc.
I know Katana like in
Diablo's not there? Then it might be Diablo that gets killed off.
Yeah,
He's a good character. Dang it.
Katana like in the first trailer, it looked like she was doing that that classic Japanese
Seppuku.
Seppuku
where
when she kills herself.
self-sacrificing. That's what it looked like she was doing. Like
I think she was just
jamming-
putting her sword away.
Okay,
Yeah, which her sword is really cool.
Like-
Katana's actually pretty cool
Oh, yeah.
because the sword captures all the souls of everybody she's killed, and it keeps it in the sword. And I was
yeah.
like, that's
This
pretty sweet.
mask looks a little bit better than the mask in the was it season 3.
Yeah, that one was like one of those like
it just
Party
looked
City,
it looked like a Toys R Us.
Yeah,
kind of
right.
those like white,
Kind
or
of like
whatever.
the chick from season 2 that had that same kind of mask, but it looked like a football
The one,
helmet.
the one who looked like Lucha Girl.
I know, like
From
oh, God,
Lucha Time, whatever the heck it was called.
I laughed so
That's what
hard
she
when
looked
I
like. She
saw
looked like
I
Lucha
think
Girl.
Katana's coming back in Arrow. I thought I saw a trailer for the season, and I thought I saw her coming back. And then she'll probably kill her off too because of Suicide Squad. So it's like, don't even bring her back then if you're just gonna kill her off. But anyway, specifically for Suicide Squad, Joker. Let's talk about that for a second.
he had a bit of an arc in this trailer.
He was looking good. Like Jared Leto looks like
Yeah,
like fitting, whatever. When he was laughing with those grills in his teeth.
he has that tux from that
and
one
the
cover.
tux. Yeah, like they were lining up some of the pictures or whatever, and I'm like, this is a good choice.
Yeah, that'd
Um,
be cool. There's one thing we got to mention in Arrow, by the way.
what's that?
So when Oliver's on the island
Mm-hmm.
with like the militia
Mm-hmm.
and the head black guy, I can't think of his name or his character.
The guy who's
Blitz-
really into mystics and stuff.
Blitzkrieg,
Is it Blitzkrieg?
something like that.
They find out that Oliver had actually not killed that one woman on the island, and they start to torture him until, we'll call him Blitzkrieg, notices the mystical tattoos on Oliver's stomach that Constantine gave him.
Mm-hmm.
So he spares Oliver's life, and then in the second episode after this mid-season premiere, you find out that Shadow Spire actually worked with Blitzkrieg.
Yeah,
That's not Blitzkrieg. Baron Reiter.
Baron Reiter, excuse us, Baron Reiter. That Shadow Spire actually worked with Baron Reiter. So there's a little bit more development with that, which made me think of the whole bringing Katana back and all this other stuff that's coming. I was like, oh, I forgot to mention that.
I think they're gonna bring Constantine back.
I hope they
I hope
do.
to God they do.
I think he needs to come back for one more because like he kind of like gave him the tattoo and then it's like, hey, see ya, and then it's like, well, what is this? Like, what did you?
Maybe he'll come back for like the final thing.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know Matt Ryan's doing a lot of like other things or whatever, but he seemed like he was always interested in coming back and doing stuff. So, but jumping back now to the Suicide Squad trailer, I don't know that each time I watch like that trailer and Batman Superman trailer, I can't decide which one I'm more excited for.
I'm
It
more
kind of
excited for
keeps
Suicide Squad.
back and forth.
I got
yeah.
more excited for Batman vs Superman. I'm sorry, but continue.
Because Batman vs Superman, I'm seeing just more the negatives that could happen. Just it
I
being a
think-
clusterfuck, and there's just too much shit going on. Not very much.
I think that's what it's
half
gonna be.
to the story.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll look great. And
I think it's going to be just a plot, just like blah, just throw up.
It's like one big orgasm,
Right.
basically.
And
What's wrong with a big orgasm, Patrick?
They're nice, but I still want some like intellectual. Yeah,
I don't like them. The messy.
and they take hours to
I
clean.
don't want a big penis.
I think, if nothing else, Zack Snyder's probably like, look, even if the plot isn't the best, as long as Ben Affleck, like people dig Ben Affleck as Batman, which it seems that way is going to happen, and Gal Gadot works as Wonder Woman, that's really all that matters.
If those two key characters work, then actually I'll still enjoy it. I'll enjoy the movie.
And I think one of the things that does want to stop me from liking the Batman vs Superman movie is I feel like they're showing so much.
They are.
Yeah,
But think about it. We still have yet to see Robin. We know there's going to be a Robin. We still have yet to see Robin.
in some form.
We still have yet to see. At least they didn't show us like the Aquaman and Flash
Stuff.
spoilers, right? There's still so much in there that's
Maybe
so
that's in the
important
next
and crucial.
trailer. If they do one more trailer, they'll be like, and
no,
you'll see
I think
Flash.
they're done.
away.
Yeah, because they showed a lot in that first like sneak peek, which I was kind of like shocked. Like, damn, guys,
Yeah.
you showed a lot, and you guys are still like 8 months away.
And then even more so with
Yeah.
the Doomsday
Yeah.
trailer.
Warner Brothers, keep
Jesus
listening.
Christ.
I'm holding the mic right now. Warner Brothers, keep listening. Do not show any more. Take a hint
From Disney.
Marvel and Disney. Don't show more. You're gonna ruin the shit for us. All right.
Well, what are we, about a
March. It was like
month
2 months.
and a half, 2
Yeah.
months?
2 months.
It's getting there.
It's getting there.
Next is Deadpool,
Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool comes out the 12th, which we're really excited about.
which is this Friday. Next Friday.
Next Friday.
This Friday is Hail Caesar, which we'll probably
Mhm.
go see and
Mhm.
talk about.
And also, there was another one that is coming out that we saw. I thought.
Well,
Mhm.
do you guys want to talk about Dirty Grandpa real quick?
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
So
Go ahead.
Dan and I and our friend KJ, who you may remember, KJ is the one that called Dan the one time
Mhm.
during one of our episodes and talked about like happy ending massages. We went to see Dirty Grandpa last night, and laugh out loud funny.
It was very funny. Yeah,
Like you don't want to see it more than once because then it's not as shocking to you.
right.
Super vulgar movie.
My
Swear-
mom saw it.
No, my mom asked if she should see it. I was like, super vulgar. She's like, no, I can't see it.
She texted me and she goes, "Did you see Dirty Grandpa?" As if I thought I was like in trouble or something. I was like, "Yeah."
Daniel Whitehead.
And she goes, "Yeah, so did I. WTF?" And I was just like, "I'm like, why did you see that?" And she's like, "Oh, it looked funny." I was like, "It was funny, but like it was really
we're sitting in like the front row of like the back section of the theater,
like with the bar."
and as the first look of whatever's happening, this older couple, like 70s and 80s older couple,
Real old.
comes like walk. They sit in like the second or third row behind us, and then within the first 20 minutes of the movie, we see them walking out of the theater.
Yeah, it was probably like maybe a third into the movie, and they just like got up and left. I was just like,
man.
my heart dropped a little bit because it was kind of like
Their hearts
sad
couldn't
to
take
see
it.
them like
Yeah.
watching it. But I think they just either walked into the wrong movie and then figure, we'll just stay. We already are here because it's hard to move. Or they figure, Robert De Niro, like we like him, blah blah blah, and we'll just go see it. And like probably thought what like my mom was thinking, figuring like, oh, it'll be funny, Zac Efron, like. You know, kind of cute humor, like
No,
a nice
it's
grandpa.
gross.
It is so disturbingly like I've never seen Robert De Niro like I said. I've seen him in Goodfellas. I've seen him in parts of Casino, whatever. He's raunchy, f-bomb this, f-bomb this. Totally different Robert De Niro. Very funny Robert De Niro.
So
but
funny.
very
Great
different.
writing.
Yeah.
Jokes were spot on. Every single one. Everyone landed.
Yeah, great. I want to tell you some of the parts, but I also don't.
No, we can't tell you because if we do, then it ruins the magic of like
The surprise.
the shocking humor that happens. There are some things that are said that we were just like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Our friend KJ, he has this thing where if he laughs too hard, he just goes on this constant state. Like it's like he's like flatlining while laughing, and he just
laugh,
keeps
yeah.
laughing. And I had to like reach over and like smack him in the chest, tell him to shut up during the movie.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good. Highly recommend it if you're into like super raunchy comedy.
Or De Niro or Zac Efron. Both do a really good job. Both very convincing as like family members and grandparents and stuff like that. The actress's name slips my mind, but the one that was all over Robert De Niro.
Aubrey Plaza.
Thank you. Very funny.
Oh my god, hilarious!
Like, hey,
Oh,
professor.
she's great in Parks and Rec. Yeah.
But her face is just so like
bitch
resting
face.
bitch face.
Total
She does
bitch
that like in
face.
interviews. Like she does that.
But
everywhere.
she's like totally is very funny, but she's like, oh hey, yeah, like
Like, I
just
don't
like this
care,
very
yeah.
like monotone thing and whatever. And like you saw in the trailer with she's wearing his pants, and he's like, is that my pants? He's like, oh yeah, it's your pants, and like wearing these like big pants and stuff, calling him professor. Oh man, it was funny.
So good. See it if you can. Really do. Don't see it with your parents.
Or if your parents don't see it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Parents can see it, but just be prepared. Don't think it's just like a fun Robert De Niro movie or
It's
something.
not a
It's
fun
not
Robert
The Intern or one of those kind of things.
No, this is so gross.
It's not The Awakenings.
It kind of played like De Niro kind of wanted to just let off some like comedy steam, and he was probably like, you know what, this is ridiculous enough, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he was just selling out for the money. I think he really enjoyed his time on it.
Yeah.
So
How can you not? Like, that was so funny.
yeah, I said to Greg after the movie, I was like, I think I'd rather have been Robert De Niro in the movie. He had a lot more fun than Zac Efron for most of the movie.
But I said
So,
I'd rather be Zac Efron because he was engaged to Julianne Hough, who was hot.
yeah, but we won't say any more because then you get into spoiler territories. But all in all, good DC stuff. Looking forward to more what's to
going
come. I'm ready to just jump into these movies. I want to get into the
Yeah.
DC universe. Man of Steel, it's good, but it's I've chewed that up enough. Now I want more. Marvel's status quo. I feel like I think they're at a point where they're maintaining. They're not doing anything extraordinary or huge or different or anything like that. Maybe they will, but I think they're just kind of
Plateauing.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're hitting a little bit of a flat point and just kind of like, here's our movies. People still go see them as long as Marvel's name's on it and stuff like that. So
Which we saw the Civil War trailer actually before Dirty Grandpa, and I still got goosebumps seeing it. And
Yeah.
we're still
Yeah,
excited
same
to
here.
see it. But again,
It's not our Civil War that we want it to be, but I think in terms of context with the cinematic universe, I think this is pretty.
we also
pretty
thought
game-changing.
the theory. Remember the scene in the trailer where Tony's holding Rhodey?
Yeah,
We think that's the Goliath moment from the book.
I think so too. Actually, yeah, that's
Because in the book, the superhero Goliath gets killed by Ragnarok, which is actually the code name for the clone of Thor. And
Ragnarok really means like end of days.
Yeah. And what is like that's like the doomsday weapon. Like that was the weapon to like end it.
But
yeah,
even
like in
like-
Norse mythology, that's their Armageddon.
That's what I'm saying
Yeah.
is their Armageddon. So that's why Thor Ragnarok, it deals with that.
But we think that Rhodey, being that he was being held by Tony, looking and appearing to be dead, is the Goliath moment from the comic book. So I think it is similar. What were you saying that like all the key players are there?
Oh yeah, so the Mark Miller, who actually wrote Kingsman too, he wrote Civil War, the comic, the original one, not the spin-offs. He might have wrote those too, but anyway, he said not every single Marvel character is in Fantastic Four and all those guys, but all of like the key players.
Or the key events. Is that what it was, right? It was the key
No, it's
events.
key big characters are there. Captain America, Iron Man. So that makes me think maybe it's like Daredevil's in it too. Then, so maybe Charlie Cox is playing coy and saying, "Oh, I haven't gotten a call yet," and they might recast
Well, Daredevil's
me.
not even really a big player.
That's true.
Is a big player is Neymar. He's a huge player. He comes in and saves the day.
Neymar's the equivalent of Aquaman,
Yes.
right?
pretty much, yeah.
He comes in and saves the day.
Mm-hmm.
He's him and his army are the only reason.
Unless they're keeping that really hush.
Yeah, like it could be just a huge surprise.
That'd be nuts if that happened. I don't think it's going to happen, but that'd be nuts.
Yeah, I think it's
That
gonna
would-
be one of those.
That
one
would
of the
be
secondary characters,
probably the biggest kept secret in any movie
Ever.
in like recent years.
maybe. Other than
If not ever.
Cloverfield 10 Lane, something like that.
Yeah, which was a total surprise to just be like,
Comes
oh,
out in 2
here's
months,
a
like,
sequel.
oh, here
Like,
it
and
is.
it comes out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And Star Wars was like kept under wraps pretty good.
Oh yeah, like we just said, like with the trailer, like we still knew nothing until I think we saw the actual movie.
But then once seeing the movie, you heard our reviews. It was very
Yeah.
just like, okay, I could see this coming. But yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, I guess we'll see. That's the bottom line.
We good? We done?
Yeah, I think we're done. I'm gonna eat. I'm hungry.
You can go eat.
You're not eating?
I'm not that hungry yet. Probably in like an hour or so.
Maybe I'll wait an hour. But we're already here. Well, it doesn't open until 5, right?
Yes, it's Saturday.
Yeah, well, a half hour?
Yeah.
You want to wait a half hour?
Yeah, I can wait a half hour.
Cool. All right. We're still like rolling, talking about lunch or dinner. That's it. So join us next week. We're trying a different ending here. Join us next week. Same geek time, same geek channel. It wasn't a harmony. It was a solo. But all right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.